Hello, everyone, and welcome to our introduction slash first workshop presented by WISE. My name is Zamzam Dini, and I am the Parent Encouragement Specialist here at WISE. I'll talk a little bit about what I do, what my roles are, and just like what is WISE, what does it represent. After we get into that introduction, we'll move on to our first workshop for the day. This is one in many regarding our online series that are coming up, and I'll take some time to go over them a little bit and let you know what we have in store. As you can see from the title, today we'll be talking about the importance of family engagement for immigrant and refugee parents. We'll discuss a little bit about what family engagement means. It's also called parent engagement. If you hear me saying that, it means the same thing. What is it in general, and then how does it impact immigrant refugee parents? So before we get into our actual workshop, I wanted to take a little bit of time to just learn a little bit about WISE, and we'll get started. So WISE was founded by a group of diverse first-generation immigrant women in 1995. WISE has been instrumental in engaging with the community in terms of like educational goals, leadership, social and economic empowerment, specifically geared towards refugee and immigrant female identifying women and girls. And the founders of WISE really wanted a place for immigrant refugee women to be empowered, to have space to be to benefit from each other and learn from each other, simply because of like their own hardship that they had to face, coming to a new country, starting over, learning another language. There's definitely a lot of barriers that were at play, and they wanted to alleviate that and support the next generations to come. Let me see, let me move me a little bit. Can you? Okay, I'll be moving myself around. So what is the Parent Encouragement Program? That's what I do. This is a snapshot of our web page. And Parent Encouragement Program is really geared towards working with the parents of our girls that are part of our GGAL program. I don't know if I have information about that, not yet. So yeah, our GGAL program is an after-school program geared towards immigrant and refugee girls in 2 schools in Minneapolis, in St. Paul. And they work on college readiness, really learning about different identities, just a lot of different programs. And so what I do, or what I would be doing, is working with the parents of those girls, being a bridge between the school system and the students, trying to fill that gap and really supporting our parents and supporting the girls. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, there has been some setbacks in terms of really implementing some of the goals that we want to work on. Part of those goals are doing in-home visits, creating workshops for parents regarding whatever they want, anything that they feel like they need to support their daughters entering college and just navigating the American school system in general. So what we decided was to really make those workshops available for everybody, and that meant pre-recording them and trying to make them virtual. And hopefully when things get somewhat back to normal, we'll be able to continue with our goals. Hopefully we'll have parent mentors, parents themselves that will be able to step up and work with other new immigrant parents and refugees, and be a support for them as well. So yeah, what is the purpose of this program? It's really to support our parents and to encourage parents, obviously, but really giving parents like an orientation to the American school system. Sometimes, a lot of times, immigrant refugee parents don't really have that luxury. They don't have um, schools aren't really set in place to support immigrant and refugee families, and so that's where we come in, hopefully being that support for them. So yeah, right now it is just me in the program, creating material and working on building our program. And the benefits, we will discuss that today. So yeah, this is our website right here. If you want to go on there, hopefully there'll be some resources, a little bit more information. And this workshop, along with others, will be available on the website as well. Like I said, the Parent Encouragement Program is fairly new. It started at the beginning of the year, and it's really for the parents of our GGAL program. Really creating that access for parents, teaching parents really how to navigate the school system, and they can expect, and what really what kind of rights do parents have, what are parents really expected to do in the American education system. And we'll watch a video regarding what that looks like a little bit as well. So a little bit about our upcoming online series. Like I said before, because of the inability to have in-home or in-person workshops, our workshops will be pre-recorded and available on our parent encouragement website. There will be a tab under the main Women of Wise webpage. So yeah, what are the workshops that will be available? Like I said, today, this is the introduction / importance of family engagement. So you've already have taken the first step if you're watching this video. We'll also have some workshops regarding transitions. How does a child move from middle school to high school? What does that look like? Is there anything different that occurs? How can parents be of support? How involved will parents need to be? Just a lot of answers to some questions that parents might have. And then part 2 of that workshop is transitioning from high school to college. What does that summer before fall semester look like? How do I prepare my child for college? A lot of colleges accept applications a year before the student's intended beginning. So a lot to prepare for before the child actually gets to college, or should I say the student. And so this workshop will help parents navigate that system as well. There's a lot that comes with college preparation in terms of financial aid applications, finding the right school for your child, and sometimes those those answers are really not easy to find, especially if there's nobody in the family that has that experience of completing and graduating from college. We call those students first generation students. They're the first in their family to go, and so they really have to navigate that entire system on their own unless they find supports. And there are amazing programs out there that will assist in that as well. Um, and we'll get into resources and specific like unique factors that impact immigrant and refugee parents, but students as well. And so we also have another series of workshops regarding mental health. So I have a mental health background. I'm a current graduate student in a marriage and family therapy program. And so I'm a little biased when it comes to mental health and focusing on immigrant and refugee mental health. I also have interest in doing research with this population and how trauma impacts every aspect of a immigrant and refugee and their life. And so I thought it would be really nice to take some time and really understand the basics of what children's mental health is. The first workshop is regarding just like general developmental stages. How do children develop? How what should we expect as a child grows, regarding like their mental capacity, how much do they really understand, how do they experience the world, um, how can parents be supportive of their children. The teen years and is really the most difficult time for teens regarding their cognitive growth, how their brain grows, and how it is learning to be in the world and creating an identity for themselves. And this is where a lot of behavior concerns might come up, especially if you are a teen who has experienced trauma or experienced displacement or war. And that's unfortunately a lot of immigrant refugee students have had that experience. And the second part to this workshop series is really understanding mental health disorders. And this is very broad and very general. It's not going to be too complicated. It's really just looking out for some signs, trying to differentiate or tell the difference between a normal teen behavior or actual depression or anxiety. What should parents look for and when should they be concerned? And just really how to find resources, what should I do, and what does that look like? How can I be a supportive parent? Unfortunately, there is a difference in how immigrant and refugee children are raised and how their parents were raised. And sometimes there might be a little bit of a disconnect because parents aren't really able to relate to the actual experience of immigrant and refugee children growing up in this country. Um, and so sometimes it's really about taking the time to let your child teach you what their experience is, really listening to them and trying to understand what they're going through, and then be able to support them as a parent. So hopefully we'll be having those discussions as well. And feel free to email me if you have any more topic requests, if you would like me to discuss a certain topic around parents and immigrant refugee families, or if you have any ideas or if you would like me to focus on a certain topic, I would be more than happy to do that for you. So these are just the first 5 workshops that hopefully will be available, and we will have more to come. And you can always refer back to our parent encouragement website for more information when we have those details ready. So right now we're going to watch a video regarding a lot of different people and their opinions on what parent encouragement should look like. Um, and so we'll watch the video first and then share our thoughts.
Educators, authorities, and experts claim that our public education system is in the midst of a crisis. While they don't often agree on the solution, their prescriptions have one common ingredient: family engagement.
And so the question is whether all of us, as citizens and as parents, are willing to do what's necessary to give every child a chance to succeed. That responsibility begins not in our classrooms, but in our homes.
A very important part of the educational process is to involve the parents.
To really involve parents and the entire community in ensuring that public education improves.
If we can have parental involvement, that's huge and terrific.
It is well documented and plain common sense that parental involvement in a child's education boosts student learning and improves both behavior and student attendance.
Unfortunately, there are still studies coming out that show that many parents feel that the total responsibility for the education of their students is the schools and the teacher. And that's not true.
There are no excuses, because when you are in the building, boys see a good example, girls see a good example, and children will change their behavior just because they know you.
When I walk into a school where the parent volunteers, the community partners, I can just feel the difference in the building.
Our highest achieving kids always have parental support. What does that tell us? We've got to get parental support for more of our kids.
You've got to let your kid know you're invested. So when they come home, ask them, can I see your homework? Ask them, what did they do in school?
So that piece, that collaboration piece that I talked about before, more and more and more, I see that as the most important factor of helping kids learn.
Schools can't do it all by themselves. Okay? And if we don't find ways to engage parents, then we're not going to get it done.
My mom showed up in my school, scared me to death. She would look the teacher in the eye and say, my child will get an A in this class. It's either going to be your fault or his fault. If it's his fault, I'll take care of him at home. But if it's your fault, I'm coming back here.
I'm telling you, if everybody who is a parent who is listening right now went to your school and said to the teacher, tell me what I can do to help you help my child, you would get a different level of respect, and you would get a different level of return for your child. Would you not?
Look, everybody knows that the kids whose parents show up, you can't help it by human nature. You pay particular attention to those children.
I'm not going to deny it's difficult, because all the factors that we've been talking about all weekend play into that. The employment issues, let's just take one of them, and the stress of lower income families and just trying to exist make it difficult, obviously, to get involved. But I think we have to start from the belief, a real belief, that family engagement is not external to the process of education.
In the end, there is no program or policy that can substitute for a parent. For a mother or father who will attend those parent-teacher conferences, or help with homework, or turn off the TV, put away the video games, read to their child. I speak to you not just as a president, but as a father, when I say that responsibility for our children's education must begin at home. That is not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. That's an American issue.
Yeah, so as you can see from that video, there was a lot of different types of people really agreeing on this concept of family engagement. This idea that a parent has to be involved in their child's school life, right? Being able to reach out and connect to the teachers and be well aware of what's happening in the child's life in terms of like what they're doing at school, what they're bringing home, and having those conversations with the child, and really showing your child how much you are invested in their education, really learning about what your child is experiencing, and how you can support your child. Um, and as you saw towards the end, there was a boost in confidence, in student engagement. There's just a lot of benefits of having parents in the school. Um, Sometimes we have this concept of like schools are restricted to just teachers, right? But that's actually not the case. Parents are more than happy to visit their child's school, engage with their teachers. You can stay the whole day with your student, with your child, and really just be a witness to what they're learning, and being there physically to support them um, will go a long way. Okay. So there was a lot of talk about family engagement, having the parents involved, but what does that actually mean? What is parent engagement? So according to Bridging Refugee Youth and Children's Services, there really isn't a clear definition of what family or parent engagement is, because it means a lot of things. And it it really consists of some of these types of activities, not all, but some, which include volunteering at school, going to events, and going to PTA meetings, which are Parent Teacher Association meetings, attending parent teacher conferences, physically coming to the school, and showing your face, and really getting familiar with the school environment, and walking the same halls your child does, and really getting familiar with the school staff and educators. Also communicating with teachers and other school personnel, being able to introduce yourself not only the first week of school, but throughout the school year, and having open conversations and open line of communication with your children's teachers, whether that's through messaging apps, or setting up phone call meetings, checking in with your teacher, your student's teacher, and really getting to know who your child is seeing every day, and who is supporting your child in continuing their education throughout the year. They also consider family engagement to be supporting students with homework and recommended activities at home. A lot of schools recommend 30 minutes of reading every night, and most schools require it, but it is always preferred. And so, is the parent supporting the child not only at home with homework, but also like, is the parent coming to the school, and how involved is the parent? And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So the national, I need to find a place for me there. So the National Association for Family School Community Engagement, also known as NAFSCE, they talk about parent engagement as well. And their definition of family engagement is like a shared responsibility in which the schools and other organizations are committed to reaching out to families in meaningful ways, and families are committed to actively supporting their children's learning and development. So it's a partnership. Both the school system and the family system are supporting the child in developing and their learning, and really creating that perfect environment for the child to grow and to nourish and to really benefit from whatever that is that they are experiencing every day in school. Family engagement is continuous across child's life, and it entails enduring commitment but changing parent roles as children mature into young adults. Your roles or your job as a parent for a kindergartner will change dramatically when a child is in middle school. And then it will change dramatically when a child is in high school or college. And so as long as the parent is involved with the child's education and they're active in the child's daily life, then they'll understand what the child needs at a given moment. Sometimes parents need advocates. There might be misunderstanding in school, and so the parent understands what's going on, and they go to the school and really have that conversation with the teacher and be an advocate for the child. Sometimes a child or a teen needs somebody to listen to that listens to them, somebody that really understands what they're going through, or at least gives them the space to talk about the hardships of school. Unfortunately, school is very stressful, and it has become demanding over the years, and there really is a lot of factors that impact stress level and just the overall experience for children. It's not just about classroom or grades. It's really about social engagement. It's about learning social skills, learning life developmental skills. It really does encompass a lot more than it had in the past. Children might be involved in sports and other responsibilities, and so how do they learn time management skills? How do they learn to navigate all these different responsibilities? This is where parents come in and support them, and really teach them and give them that advice, and really be a partner for the child when they do need times of support. They also go on to say that it really doesn't just stay in the school. You can, parents are involved in multiple settings where children learn. So that can be at home, like I said, pre-kindergarten, like pre-K programs in school, after school, and even in faith-based institutions and in the community. There are a lot of immigrant and refugee families that children learn about their culture and their religion during the weekend. And so, how involved are you in those activities as well? Wherever a child is learning, parents should be involved, parents should be active. And that open line of communication for teachers and administrators really applies everywhere, not just the school system. It can apply in your faith-based institutions where children are learning. It can be after-school programs, daycare, just being in the habit of discussing what your child needs and really checking in with whoever is providing for a child at the moment, and making sure that they are receiving the best service they deserve, really. But also to make sure that you are fully aware of your child and what they're experiencing, what they're going through. And you don't want to be caught off guard regarding anything like that. So the United States Children's Bureau, this is a program that is supported by the Administration for Children and Families, which is supported by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So they have a website called childwelfare.gov, and it has a lot of great information. It's right here at the bottom, and you can go there for resources regarding just children and how they develop, but just like parent resources as well, and a lot of other amazing information. And so the childwelfare.org website defines parent engagement as parental involvement in education. It's the participation of parents in regular two-way and meaningful communication involving students' academic learning and other school activities. And so it's not only, I think they emphasize that this is a two-way conversation, which means not only is our teachers sending out updates, parents are also checking in, starting the conversation. It's not only when the child is in trouble, the parent is really inquiring about how their child is throughout the year, maybe even checking in once a month or once every 2 months, just to see where the child is at. And having that open line of communication both ways where it's actually meaningful. It's not just like a report, right? It's about like building that connection and that emotional attachment to your teacher, your child's teacher, so that they continue that friendship and emotional attachment to your child. And we all know, like as people, and as you know, you heard in the video, if a parent is involved and is showing that effort and commitment, the teacher will also put in more effort towards the child because they know there is an involved and invested parent behind them. And it just really continues that ball, gets that ball rolling, and really creating a more nourishing environment for a child. And they also discuss a little bit more. Parents play an integral role in assisting their children's learning. And so that means either going through their homework and really making sure they understand the material, or at least just prompting them, asking them, have you done your homework? What have you understood from this book that you read? Really being actively involved in the child's learning, making sure that they are progressing and that they are understanding the material. And you will also see progress in your child as well. Parents are also encouraged to be actively involved in their children's education at school. Like we said before, and we'll probably say a couple of times later, but parents are really do belong in the school, and being there physically, being there, just like knowing through information, all that is important for the child's growth. And parents are full partners in their children's education and are included as appropriate in decision-making and on advisory committees to assist in their children's education. So this really means that parents do have the same rights to ensuring that their child has a proper education. And so they are really, depending on the school, they're able to be a part of decision making that happens for the school regarding either events or services or whatever that is. And parents can be involved through the PTA, Parent Teachers Association. And if you have the time and if you have the capabilities, being more involved in advisory committees to consult for the school and just really give them the parent perspective. And so there's a lot that parents can do in order to be involved in their child's education and in the school system as well. So we talked a lot about family engagement. We talked about what it means and how important it is. But what are the benefits? What would happen for me if I have increased engagement in my child's school, if I have started going to PTA meetings and I have started doing random visits and coming to my child's school during the day just to be around them? What does that do for me? And what does that do for my child? So a lot of studies, a lot of research studies have really looked at parent involvement and just the outcomes of for that. What are the outcomes? What are the benefits? And usually these studies are, they show a benefit for the child in the long run. And so data from the Chicago longitudinal study it was a research lab that looked at parent involvement and student outcome. They indicated that parent involvement in elementary school was significantly associated with academic success in high school. So that just means that parents who were involved in their students' elementary school, and we already discussed what those involvements might look like. Those elementary students, when they got to high school, had much better academic success. They were well prepared, and they were more capable of really transitioning smoothly into high school and navigating that new high school system. And that study was done in 2003. And because of like the research findings and a lot of positive results, schools are now required to involve parents in their children's education. And that's through the No Child Left Behind Act. You saw that video with President Obama. Really integrated into actual law and just really requiring schools to reach out to parents, creating some kind of system to involve parents and really take benefit from the positive results of parent or family engagement. So some benefits to actual students. What will my student benefit from me being involved in their school? So this is also from the childwelfare.gov webpage. And it discusses the increase in student achievement regardless of socioeconomic status, ethnic or racial background, or parents' educational level. So what does this actually mean? Regardless, it doesn't matter what the parent's educational level is. It doesn't matter what the racial or ethnic background of the student. So it doesn't matter if he's white or Asian or Black. It doesn't matter what the race is. And it doesn't matter what socioeconomic status is. The child can be in poverty or be middle class. Regardless, notwithstanding all of these, there's always increase in student achievement. So this parent involvement really, it doesn't matter what the background of the student is, it is always beneficial and it is always positive. It also improves grades, test scores, and attendance, which obviously are things that we know are required, right, for positive learning and actually passing school. It also improves students' self-esteem and self-discipline. Students they have better confidence. They are able to get stuff done, and they are committed to completing their work and having increased responsibility at school. Behavior is improved, and there are less disciplinary actions taken. There's a reduction, there's a lessening in suspensions. Students are not acting out. Everybody's committed to their work. Everybody wants to be at school. They're happy to be there because parents are involved, and parents are showing their child they care by really either coming to the school or asking about school and showing the child that they care about their education. And in return, the child will care about their own education as well. Other benefits. It also reduces placements in special education and remedial classes. Because students are committed to their school education, they don't have to be placed in remedial classes. They are at the level they need to be at. It increases graduation rates and enrollment rates in post-secondary education, which means the students that are doing great in school, they're gonna do better in college. Post-secondary education is college, is high school and beyond. And so any school after high school is post-secondary, and their graduation rates are increased. And children actually go to college, which is another amazing benefit. There's also less behaviors regarding alcohol use, violence, and antisocial behavior. Since children are more disciplined, right, and there's less suspensions and disciplinary actions, that means children are not behaving in a negative manner. There is, less alcohol use and violence because of that self-esteem and self-discipline, I would imagine. There's also an improvement of school performance of students from diverse cultural backgrounds when parents and teachers collaborate to bridge the gap between the culture at home and the culture of the Learning Institute. So what does that mean? It really just says that when the school takes time to learn about the child's culture and parents at home take time to learn about the school system and what is expected of them, it really brings the two systems together, and they work together to support the child. And that means the overall school performance is better for all diverse students because of this consideration and partnership between school professionals and the parents. And it also enhances the outcome for junior and senior high school students whose parents remain involved. And so if you have began becoming involved in your child's school and you maintain that pattern throughout the child's up until high school, it's better outcome for a child. They're able to transition, move from high school to college much easier. They're able to get jobs and have better work quality and have better plans for the future. Having a parent beside you that supports you throughout your entire journey is obviously going to be a much better advantage for a child. And so these are just the benefits for the students. These are really impressive results. Let's continue. So how does the parent benefit? We talked a little bit about what will happen for the student. And so for, again, from the childwelfare.org, they say that parent involvement increases parents' interactions and discussions with their children. Parents are able to actually have and carry a conversation with their child. They're both talking about something that they both care about, and this always increases, connection to your child. A child knows that you care about their future, and they will be more willing to open up and have those discussions with you. Parent encouragement also improves parents' responsiveness and sensitivity to the children's social, emotional, and intellectual developmental needs. So, a lot of big words, but it really just means that the parent is more understanding and knowing of their child. They'll understand the children's social needs, whether that's after school programs or just learning social skills. They'll understand the child's emotional needs, and also they'll understand or be able to witness their child growing intellectually. They'll witness the child making better decisions, really having those tough conversations with you, and once the parent really understands the child, they're able to best support the child that way too. Sometimes it's really hard to help someone if you don't know what you're looking for. And so if you're involved from the beginning, you'll be able to have a better understanding of what I should be looking for as a parent, and when I should step in and support my child, and when I should take a step back and let them do it themselves. Parent encouragement also increases parents' confidence in their parenting and decision-making skills. If you are always involved and actively in your child's life, you're never really taken for surprise, right? You're not going to be surprised about anything. You're going to be more confident in your parenting skills because what you have been doing so far has been working. If we go back to the benefits for our students. Parent encouragement increases parents' understanding of the school curriculum. Obviously, if you're at the school or if you're in open communication with the teacher, you'll start to understand what is required of your child in order to succeed into the next grade. You'll understand what graduation requirements are. You'll understand the types of curriculum and what your child is learning. You'll understand what classes they'll take, and you can help them make those decisions. You'll be able to think about college in the future and really build a path and a plan for your child. And that all starts with learning about how the school system actually works. Parent encouragement will also increase the likelihood that parents will be involved with learning activities in the home. And so if you're having these constant conversations with the child, more than likely your child will come to you when they need help with a question. You'll be able to read together for those 30 minutes every day. And you'll be involved in homework and learning activities at home more often. Whether that means they do it with you at the table and they are able to ask you questions, or they come to you themselves because they know that you are committed to their education. Parent encouragement will also improve parents' perceptions of and commitment to the school. So if you know what your school represents and what it's about, you'll be able to understand where your school stands on certain things and whether or not that's something you want to support. And if you're committed to the school, if you're attending these events and volunteering, you're putting your time and effort into the school. And therefore you have a better and stronger connection to the school. Lastly, parent encouragement or parent involvement increases parents' awareness of policies that affect their children's education. As you know, at least for public schools, there are policies that impact children's education all the time. And if you are actively involved in the school system, you'll probably hear about it more often than someone who is not. And if you are committed to the school, you can do something about it. You can support whatever policy you want. You can support laws that rebuild your school and put money into your child's education, and really improve your school's infrastructure. You can have a lot more influence too, not just in the school, but also on a bigger scale when it comes to policies. So those are the benefits for parents. And how do educators or teachers benefit from parent encouragement? Parent encouragement increases the likelihood of teachers and principals experiencing higher morale and job satisfaction. If the teacher is able to openly communicate with the parent and knows that the parent will support them and work with them on their children's education, it makes their job a lot more easier. And there is a lot of reward that comes with seeing a child grow and really come into a strong student. And it's really, I'm not a teacher myself, but I'm sure it's a lot of reasons why teachers become teachers in the first place. Parent encouragement improves communication and relationships among parents, teachers, and administrators. If if you talk to your teacher on a daily basis, they will probably be a lot more understanding when it comes to differences, and you'll be able to have a constructive conversation and develop a relationship with your child's teacher. I mean, sometimes if you think about it, if there are siblings, the same teacher might be working with multiple children. And so if you develop that communication and relationship early on, it'll make things a lot more easier for the other children that will come after. Parent encouragement improves teachers and principals' understanding of families' cultures and unique circumstances, which in turn improves relationships with families. And so this really means teachers and principals will have the opportunity to learn about your culture and your expectations because you're having those conversations. And teachers will be a lot more understanding when they know where the child or the parent is coming from. And really, if there is no communication, there's a lot of assumption. And sometimes the assumptions are not correct. And so when we have open line of communication, when we have teachers and principals that are willing to learn and willing to listen to parents, it really improves overall relationships for everybody. And so how do schools overall benefit from parent involvement? Obviously, if students are doing great and teachers are happy and parents feel supported, schools' reputations and support in the community will increase. You know, the school will be a strong resource for the parents and families, and will really get the support of the community to back them. It also improves the performance and the quality of programs than other programs. If the school is committed to learning about family, parents, and their culture and how they can best support their immigrant and refugee families, it goes back to increasing parent involvement, and parents are more willing to take time off, take some time, volunteer, go to events. And it's really like it's like a circle, it's like a cycle. Parent encouragement really leads to a lot of different things that impact each other at the same time. And it really does create a huge difference for everybody, not just the students. So we talked a lot about what is expected of parents, what parent involvement looks like. But unfortunately, the American school system is very unique in that it really is different from the rest of the world in terms of expectations when you compare it to other countries. And so we'll take some time to really listen to the experience of actual immigrant and refugee parents and what their thoughts around the school system. This video is in Canada, takes place in Canada, but I feel like it's pretty much similar to the American school system. And at least the immigrant and refugee experience is a little bit more similar. So we'll watch parts of the video. I'll fast forward a little bit. If you want to watch the full video, it will be on our website. And so we'll just listen to these immigrant and refugee parents real quick. And the video is a little bit old, but
society assumes that you know
it's irrelevant.
certain things and that you know how school looks like here. So when I was at university, I had a lot of young friends, and I always, one of my main questions all the time is, how is school here? What should I expect? Because there were many things that as a young adult, I was already feeling differences.
But I found here it's quite different because it's a collaborative partnership. So parents and teachers are, like hand. And many of us refugees and immigrants, it's total new system to us. Going to the school means like you don't trust the teachers enough to, to educate your children. So you're going out of your territory as a parent when you go into the school system. So that's most of us how we see going to the school.
The rules are the same. It's all education. The teacher is there to guide and to discipline this child. But unfortunately, the schools do not provide orientation for parents. It is now that some kind of orientation is given through some of the agencies, but the schools really do not provide orientation for parents to get to know the expectations of the school.
The thing is, they don't really understand the system here, right? When you arrive, and then also something that stick in your mind that school is a place when you go and leave your kids there, and that the teachers, they are the one that taking care of your kids. So they stay this kind of thing, but they need to be educated on these kind of system here that work in here is not the same as back home, right?
All the kids, whether this size or that size, when they come home, they come with the assignments, many assignments, okay? To be helped by the parents, there's a place to decide, and there's no time for the father or mother.
Sorry about that.
Kids to be educated. We were not educated. We are not educated. How will I help these people with the assignments?
Many parents are really struggling, and they are totally, they are working 2-3 jobs to start with. They have so many children to take care of. They are learning the language themselves, so it's not easy task. And on the top of that, they are totally scared of going into the school territory because of that authority. We came from a system where authority is, you don't mess up with, you don't go close. It's, that we are scared of authority. So sometimes it's not easy for them to go into the school and show up and ask questions.
And when you face the Canadian school system is the lack of information and the lack to access that information. And the fact that I can speak English and that my kids go to school where the principal is a Colombian make things easier for me. But maybe for the parents make it way more difficult. I was thinking, what if I could not speak English?
Student find out you're the one who made the drug. If you really let me go, because I failed schools from the jobs.
In the Sudan, it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, you go to school according to your knowledge. If you don't know how to write and read, you begin with grade 1. In Canada, the experience is different. People are put in class not by knowledge, but they're put in class by age. And that is the biggest surprise I've ever gotten in my life.
If you were living in Toronto, is there a way you could compare the system, how they deal with youth and the school?
Immigrants or refugees, for example, who come from the Sudan or Africa in general, when they get into those classes because of age, and then you find that these are people who have lived in the refugee camps without any formal education. They've only been kept under trees for the sake of security. And so at the age of 15, when you're told to go to your junior high here, it becomes difficult because firstly, you don't know the language, and that becomes a disadvantage. Secondly, you have never had a formal sitting in a class. So sitting for an hour is just very, very, very difficult. And so the students who go to these classes because of age, either to junior high or senior high, look at themselves as hopeless and as wasting time. And this is where challenges and problems arise to the families.
So what I can advise you guys is if you can find
a lot of cost to the system.
My expectation for my children, especially their future, it's big. I have big dreams for them because every parent wants their children to do well. But for us refugees, we lost everything. We lost the career we built, we lost our support system, we lost our land. So our future is in our children. So we expect them to do well. So because if anything goes wrong, if anything happens to me, then they have to be able to support themselves and do well in life. That is the ultimate goal for me, and I think for every parent.
Yeah, so just some personal experience from immigrant and refugee parents. I don't know if this is coming up, but I just want to say that immigrant and refugee parents really, really value education. And it is a lot of times one of the main reasons why they immigrate to this country. And unfortunately, immigrant and refugee parents are the least involved in school systems. But as you can tell from the video, it's just a matter of understanding what does the American school system expect of parents? What does it look like? How is it different from my home country? And just really learning the system. It's not that immigrant or refugee parents don't care. They care the most. It's just a matter of really understanding that this is a new system, this is a new country, and some like you saw in the video, some parents really assume that parents are supposed to be away from schools. But as you saw in the other video with President Obama, it's parents have to be involved in their child education in order for the child to succeed. Schools just really can't do it themselves. And that is one misunderstanding that really does impact immigrant and refugee parents. So as you can see from this slide, I just wanted to talk about some barriers. What are some things that impact parent engagement for immigrant and refugee parents? What are getting in the way of immigrant and refugee parents being more involved in school? As I said, learning an entirely new educational system. Some parents just really don't understand what school expects from parents, what school expects from students. And if the school system or the schools don't really support parents that way, you just really can't know. It's a matter of miscommunication. Cultural misunderstandings and expectations. As you saw in the video, some school systems are not based on age, they're based on skills. And it's really, you can have a lot of different age groups in one classroom because they are all on the same level educationally. And that does not happen in American school systems. All the students are put based on how old they are, not what their level is. And so American schools or American teachers are expecting a certain level of commitment from the parents, and the parents are assuming that teachers will take care of everything. And so it's just really a lot of misunderstanding happening that can really prevent immigrant and refugee parents from really getting involved in their children's school. Also, on the level of school welcoming environment, as you heard in the video, some schools don't give out that information, and sometimes schools don't really have the best welcoming environment, especially when there are language barriers. Are the materials that are coming with the child in English only? Are there other language options? Are there interpreters available? The level of school environment really does impact who feels welcome. And so if parents don't feel welcome, there's no way that they're going to be there every day actively involved. And so schools do have a level of responsibility as well. And other common barriers or other things that might get in the way are common barriers that happen for low-income families, which is transportation. Do I have a means to get to the school? Childcare. Do I have younger children or babies at home? And if I'm with them at home during the day, how can I go and be at my child's school and volunteer? Work schedule. If a parent is working 2-3 jobs just to make a living, how are they going to have time to volunteer? Financial stress. If there's financial worry, obviously I can't miss work. And so there are a lot of other barriers that impact the level of parent engagement from immigrant and refugee parents. And I feel like we really do have to acknowledge that. And it is difficult, and it is definitely not easy, for sure. So what can we do to at least overcome some of these barriers? How can we, now that we know these barriers are there, parent involvement is still important. We talked about how much benefit comes from it, not only for students, but also parents and educators. And so this is not a one-sided issue. This is not like, it's not nobody's fault. This is something that really does have to be a partnership between parents and school personnel. Both have to come and take a step forward and trying to figure out, like, what can we do in order to best support our parents. And so, for example, let's go through this first. And so schools need to make systemic change that welcomes immigrant refugee parents in schools. Does that mean I will make events later during the day so that parents can come after work? Does that mean that school will hire diverse personnel so that there are people of similar background and culture to the parents working at the school? And so there is an automatic understanding of culture that an explaining doesn't need to happen. There is not cultural barrier or language barrier. And that really does come from school taking that first step, taking that initiative to hire these diverse personnel. Families can take advantage of school resources and programs like the Parent Encouragement Program provided by WISE. We are trying to do our best to build that bridge and connect parents to schools. And parents have this opportunity to be a part of this program and really learn about their child's education. And I'm pretty sure there are programs like this at other schools and other districts, and working with their programs and being a part of that too. So you're able to learn more about your child's education. Also, like, having parents are experts, right? They're experts, they know their children, and they can be of service to the student's teacher. Really having open communication and really allowing teachers to understand students better by way of parents is always beneficial. And it can help teachers understand what is happening for the student at home and really support them that way too. And so if both people are putting in effort if both the teacher and the parent are putting in effort, it only benefits the child. So I wanted to give some resources, at least. In the Minneapolis Public Schools District, there's a program called Connecting Parents to Educational Opportunities, or CPEO. And it is a 7-week program for immigrant and refugee parents. And it teaches them about the school system. It teaches them how the child can be successful. They will have conversations with administrators, with teachers, practicing how to have a conversation with the teacher, and a lot of different really useful information. And the program is offered in English, Spanish, Hmong, and Somali. I don't know if this program is still happening due to COVID, but you can find out more information at this website, or contact the Department of Family Engagement within the MPS school district. I just thought this was a really amazing resource, and it is offered in many languages, unlike this workshop, which is in English. And so this is definitely something that can be of service if you are in the Minneapolis Public Schools. Other resources, there are these 2 videos. The first one is called "You Can Help Your Child in School," and the other one is "You Can Talk to Your Child's School." And it is 2 videos that are. These videos are available at your local library. As you can see, they are in a lot of different languages, including Amharic, Arabic, Hmong, Nuer, Oromo, Russian, Somali, and Spanish. And you can rent these and check them out and spend as much time as you would like on them. And hopefully they can be a great resource. They were created by the Minnesota Department of Education, and so a lot of valuable information there. So yeah, these are just 2 examples of resources out there, and hopefully after every workshop, we'll continue sharing with you resources in the community that you can explore. All the videos in this presentation will hopefully be on our website if you would like to go back and view them. I know at least one of them, we watched little snippets of them, and you can go back and watch the full video. I wanted to end with just an experience. All of this, everything we talked about today, what we're learning about, is really to benefit our children, and really trying to give them that support they need in starting in a new country and a new culture, and really trying to make the best of it. So we'll just listen to the experience of actual students, immigrant and refugee students, and see what their life is like during school, and hopefully we can gain a better perspective in their experience as well. So, final thoughts.
Do you ever think back on what life was like when you were 14?
I try not to. Middle school is such an interesting age, you know. I like to be on my phone, watch K-dramas.
But for many of the students at Kansas City's Northeast Middle School, they're not only negotiating the typical travails of youth, but of learning English as well.
Biggest struggles is speaking. Like, it's when it's not like your main language.
I just need the numbers 1 to 100 because I used to learning in there, and I just know the word friend and mom and dad.
The time I came here, my English was little bad. Now it's better because of my teacher, Miss Foster. She helped me so much.
50 different languages are spoken in the Kansas City Public Schools District. To the south in Olathe, 72. In the North Kansas City District, it's 110.
I think we actually have to have another layer of understanding and empathy when it comes to that, because these kids have been through things that you and I could just never imagine.
Like politics, a lot of fighting. They will come to your house and asking for money, they will kill people.
I was living in Thailand camp. But they're made up of
bamboo wood.
It was hard. I was scared.
So you really have to think about, why is this student doing this? They're a middle schooler. They come from another country. I'm looking at what they're doing through an American lens, and you really do have a lot of layers you have to go through.
But in Heil's experience, she's come to see not just the resources these kids need, but the resources they are.
There's such a beauty in the diversity that we have here.
Which brings us back to this young man named Happy. Believe it or not, he's not the only Happy at Northeast Middle. There are multiple students named Patience as well. They've come to the U.S. with only the family name, so their parents, once here, give them a name which is a characteristic.
If you read about education now, or kind of look at the ed reform terms that get thrown around, those are characteristics that we're looking for in kids that help you be successful no matter what academically. If you can persevere, you're going to be successful no matter what life throws at you. And these kids have that. They have that, and they can teach that to their English-speaking peers.
Sometimes you're around people, you don't know what they're saying. That's really hard, and it makes you feel sad. But during the time you're learning, and that's great.
There will be more immigrants who come through these doors for the first time, just as Justin, the Blade Pa, and Happy did. And what advice would Happy give?
I will tell him when he come here to learn and help his family. My family happy, that's all I wanted.
It has made me a better person for working here, for knowing these kids and knowing these families.
Yeah, that really just goes to show like how strong-willed and determined immigrant and refugee students are. And our purpose is really to support them and give them whatever care they need. These are just some references about where I got my information today. If you would like to do more research on your own. But this concludes our webinar or workshop today. I just wanted to end with a quote, really about like the work that we're doing. The quote is, education is a shared commitment between dedicated teachers, motivated students, and enthusiastic parents with high expectations. Like we said before, it's a community project. It really isn't just teachers or isn't just students or parents. It's everybody working together to uplift our students. So yeah, thank you for joining me today. This will conclude our webinar, and hopefully if you would like more workshops, please visit our website at womenofwise.org. Like I said before, you can email me for any other requests or ideas about the kind of information you would like to see. So thank you, and thank you to our viewers. Bye.